Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back if you were on my previous 3 webinars. If not, if this is your first webinar with us today, thank you ever so much for joining, and of course, welcome. My name is Chris, and I am one of the Shortcuts educators here, predominantly based in the Southeast. Now, this is our last webinar for today, but please do not worry, we will be running more webinars next week. Now, just to let you know, we are going to be running through our Shopify webinar today. And it's going to be split into 2 parts, 2 out of 3 parts. The reason that is part 1 and part 2 today. We kind of feel that should be enough to get you going. However, as you go through the webinar with me, you will most likely find there are a few steps you need to do, and maybe things you've never done before, or maybe things you need to brush up on. Okay, so with that being said, those aspects of today's webinar, we will also run a webinar for next week just to refresh, and then we will finalize it all next week. However, please do not worry, you will be sent the recordings, and you can also go onto our website and see the 3 pre-recorded versions already if you want to move straight on with it. But we're going to split it down into 2 parts today. We're going to do part 1 and we're going to do part 2. Now, I appreciate sometimes when we do webinars, in the background, you do follow along beside me and replicate what I'm doing. For this, I would probably recommend you don't. You can do probably some steps of it, but there are other aspects that might just be worth just sitting back and just watching. Like I said, you will get the recording, so you can always watch this back in your free time if you wish to. There are a few steps that go into making Shopify work. It is also worth taking into consideration that Shortcuts and Shopify are not integrated. So just to reiterate and just to let you know, Shopify isn't a Shortcuts program, okay? It's something we have, of course, come up with this pandemic going on. We want to be able to get you to retail products and have a bit of an online shop. But please take into consideration that Shortcuts and Shopify are not integrated, okay? So with that being said, there's a couple of slides we're just going to run through, a couple of things we're going to go through today, and then we will run through our live demonstration. Now, we are going to take it nice and slow. It's probably going to take us about an hour to do part 1 and part 2, but not a problem if you need to drop out or anything like that. You can always watch the webinar back, and we've got part 1, part 2, and part 3 on our website, which I will point you towards if you want to crack straight on with it. But it's being designed with yourselves in mind, okay? Because we don't want to sort of overload you with information. Okay, so let's get started. So what we need to do, we are going to run through all of this in a live demonstration, so please don't worry. So we need to create ourselves a new folder on our desktop computer, and this must be done exactly as shown in this session. Sounds a lot more extreme than it really is, but just follow the steps and I promise we'll get there. Then we need to access the Shopify setup page on our website to download our unique files to the folder from our website there, shortcuts.com.au/Shopify. And we've got that link at the end, and I will also show you that link on the live demonstration. Before generating the list of your stock, you must conduct a stock take because, of course, there's no use listing all of your products on your Shopify website if your stock levels are totally wrong. You should check the names and prices of your products are correct and labeled as retail, okay? We can only stock retail products, okay? We cannot stock professional products. And unfortunately for the time being, I am waiting for 100% confirmation, but for the time being, it does unfortunately seem we can only list all of our products, okay? And I will go into this more detail at the end, okay? Double check all information in your CSV file or your Excel file. Your generate is correct, ready to upload into Shopify. We can then create a Shopify account. Do not use a trial account. You can use a basic account, a paid account. We'll talk about the prices at the end. Again, these are all Shopify prices, nothing to do with Shortcuts. Of course, confirm your email address with Shopify, and then you can import your list from the Shopify export folder. Okay, and this is what we're going to do today. We're going to take it nice and slow. Okay, so a couple of steps we need to do. So we got some helpful resources. The first one is www.shortcuts.com.au/Shopify. We will be needing that website. Okay, so that's our Australian site, shortcuts.com.au/Shopify. And of course, we've got my email address, education@shortcuts.co.uk. We've got our further webinars, /online classes. And of course, we've got our YouTube channel as well. And of course, if you do need to contact us, it's 0161 972 4900. Okay, so we're going to go through all of the basic steps now. Now, just to reiterate, if you're just joining us, welcome. But we're going to be going through steps 1 and 2 of 3 steps today. Okay, this is enough to get you started. Step 3 goes into a little bit more detail of your actual Shopify account and ordering and things like that. We will also run step 3 next week, as well as some refreshers of what you may need to do this, okay, such as stock takes and things like that. So don't worry, we will be running that next week. Perfect. So let's move over to our live demonstration. So what I would recommend you do when you do this yourself is always open up your Google Chrome browser, okay? I would always recommend we use Google Chrome as your browser. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to our website, and it's shortcuts.com.au/Shopify. So I would do that first and have that in the background. So it's shortcuts.com.au/Shopify. Then what we would do is scroll down. Here you will see we have our how-to videos. This is the pre-recorded versions of 1, 2, and 3. We're going to be going through 1 and 2 today. It will differ ever so slightly. It's done by Australian educator Johnny, but it's absolutely fantastic, and they're pre-recorded to help you out moving forward. So what we need to do is we need to click here where it says get the guide. We need to get our setup guide. So once we've clicked onto that, this guide will accompany this webinar, okay? And it also accompanies the tutorial videos. So we do need to get this guide. And of course, it will talk you through everything. But like I said, this guide will accompany today's webinar. So the first thing we're going to do is create a folder on your computer. And this is in the local disk, i.e. the C drive, okay? And it must be called Shopify Export. So what I'm going to do, in the bottom left-hand corner on my taskbar, I'm going to open up a folder. And I'm going to go down to just on the left-hand corner where it says local disk. And in here, I'm going to create a folder called Shopify Export. Now, I've already created one, but all you would need to do is right-click with your mouse, click New folder, and call it Shopify Export. All one word. It doesn't matter whether it's lowercase or uppercase, but it's all one word written exactly like that. Okay? And this is on our local disk. It must be done on our local disk. Okay? So this is on this PC and our local disk. And we're going to create a new folder called Shopify Export. Okay, so if we go back to our internet page, we can see step 1 has now been created. Okay, so we've created our folder Shopify Export on our local disk. Okay, so now what we would do is go back to our dedicated website, this one here, shortcuts.com.au, and ensure we've got this guide open, because we're now going to download 2 files, okay? And we're going to download them in a slightly different way to each other. So step 2 is to download the 2 files, and you'll see we've got a file that is .bat, which is a batch file, and .txt, which is a text file, okay? We need to download both, but we're going to do them individually. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to left click onto export products for Shopify.bat. We're just going to left click onto that. And you'll see my computer brings up this warning down here, okay? This is saying, do we want to keep or discard this? I think it's safe, so we're going to click onto the keep button, okay? And that has now downloaded that batch file. You can see it down the bottom here. Our second file, the .txt file, we're going to right click and save this link as. Yes, this is fine to set up when you've got retail and commercial stock. This will only be for retail. It will not include professional or commercial. So what we're going to do is we're now going to right click the .txt file. So you can see that here, right click and save link as. So we're going to right click and go down to save link as. It's the 4th one down, save link as. This will then want us to save it to a folder. If it doesn't automatically take it to your local disk and your Shopify export folder, just make sure you search for that. But we want to save it to our Shopify export folder, and we're going to click the save button. Okay, you'll now see we have 2 files downloaded. So what we're now going to do is pop both of those files into our Shopify export folder. So on the left-hand side, again, down the bottom, we're going to open up our folder. And on the left-hand side, you will see we have a downloads section just here. And if we click onto downloads, you will see our batch file just here has not gone into our brand new local C drive folder. So what we're going to do is literally click and drag and drop this on the left-hand side into our Shopify export. So we're removing it from our downloads into our newly created Shopify export folder. You will now see we have 2 files in our newly created Shopify export folder within the C drive. Okay, so just to reiterate, we do need 2 of these files in our Shopify export. We need to have a batch file and we need to have a text document. It's very important we have the batch file as well as the text document. If not, just go back to the beginning and just restart the process. Okay, so once we've got 2 files downloaded, what we can now do is open up our Shortcuts Fusion system, and we need to prep our shortcut system. Okay, so we're going to open up Shortcuts down the bottom, and there are a couple of things we need to do first and foremost. We need to check our products, and then we need to do a stock take. So on the right hand side of our navigation bar, we're going to click where it says stock, and then we're going to click products. Now yours may be set out slightly different. Some people have slightly more or slightly less columns along the top here. But what we do need to ensure is we have this column here where it says retail. Now, please do not worry if you do not have that. I will explain how to get that now. And moving forward, it may help you out. And what we want to see is essentially our retail products. So along the top, anywhere on the columns, if you right click, if you go down to properties, you can pop a tick where it says retail, okay? And this will show you all of your retail products. Now, if you're using a system with professional products, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can toggle between professional and retail, and this will show accordingly. Now, even if this says retail here, if you're using professional products, this will change to professional for professional products, okay? There isn't a column for professional or anything like that. Retail and professional are alike, okay? And that's what we need to ensure. We have our retail column just here. And the other thing we need to do is for all of our products, like I said, for the time being, it does seem we can only export all of our products into the system. Oh, sorry, I should say only retail products into the system, okay? Now, I appreciate there are certain companies that do not allow you to sell online. That is something we are looking into. But moving forward, we do need to ensure all of our spellings are totally correct, okay? Now, I appreciate some of you may have hundreds and hundreds of products, okay? This is why we've given a sort of week for this bit of homework and background work to get all of this sorted. So we've got that 7 days to do that. So we do need to ensure our spellings are totally accurate, and it is always a good idea to ensure we've got the sizing, the milliliters, and so forth. It's also important we have the sell price, okay? Because of course, this sell price will appear on our Shopify account. It's not necessarily as important to have the buy price for this aspect. However, I would recommend you always have your buy price moving forward for other aspects of shortcuts. But for purposes of Shopify, it's not necessarily important because of course, clients purchasing online will not see how much you purchased the product for anyway. We do also need to have the barcode in there as well. Okay, so just to reiterate, we do need to have the retail column at the top. And again, we can right click, go to properties, and we can pop a tick next to retail. And that will ensure it differentiates between your retail and professional products. We need to ensure the spelling and the buy price is correct for all of your products, okay? So that might be a little bit of homework for us all moving forward, okay? But like I said, we've got 7 days until we run the last aspect of this Shopify webinar. We're going to be running that one next week. So what we're now going to do is a stock take, okay? And of course, the reason we do a stock take is because we need to ensure all of our stock levels are totally accurate, because it's these shortcut stock levels that will be imported into our Shopify account, okay? And again, next week to help you out, I will also be running a webinar showing you how to do a successful stock take. So on the right-hand side of the screen, we're going to click stock take, okay? In the top right-hand corner, we're going to click the new button. And what we're going to call it is Shopify. In the bottom right-hand corner, we're going to click the next button. In the top right-hand corner, we're going to click the add button. Now, I'm just going to sort of whiz through doing a stock take here, but next week I am going to do a dedicated webinar to show you how to do a stock take. But for those of you that do know how to do it, I'm just going to whiz through this aspect. So we're going to click the add button. And we're now going to add in all of the products we wish to do a stock take for. Now you'll see here there is a grey dotted square next to Redchem. Clicking this grey dotted square will add in every single line, every single product under the Redchem umbrella. We can expand the company by clicking the yellow cross, and that will reveal the line of products. And again, we can click the grey dotted square, and that will highlight all of the products that fall within this line. And again, if we take it one step further, and if we click the grey dotted square next to each individual product, we can add in each individual product accordingly. Now, I just want to add in all of my Redchem products. I've scaled it right down here to just one company, one line, and one product, just to condense it down for everyone watching. Of course, you'll probably have loads and loads of products. So we're going to click the grey dotted square next to Redchem, and that will add in all of the lines and all of the products. So we're going to click the add button. Okay, you can of course move forward and add more products in, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to click the done button. Okay, so what we now need to do is start our stock take. So down the bottom of the screen, we're going to click the start button, and it says, are you sure you want to activate this stock take? So we're going to click yes. Then it will ask us to print out 3 forms. Now, next week, I'm going to go into a lot more detail as to what all of these forms do and what they are. But for the purposes of this webinar, I'm not going to print any forms out because, of course, I'm not actually going to do a stock take right now. And we click the done button. So at this point, it would then print out your stock take form, and you would then do your stock take. Okay. Now, of course, I appreciate for the time being, it might be slightly more tricky with us not being able to get into the salon. So just make sure when you do this, you do keep nice and safe and adhere to the government legislations. So once we've done our stock take, we now need to input those figures back onto the system. So I'm just going to pop a random number in here. So I'm going to say I counted 2 of these products. Okay. So I've done my stock take and I've counted 2 of my Color Magnetic shampoo. In the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to click the checkered flag where it says finish. And it says, are you sure you want to complete this stock take? Committing this stock take will update your shortcuts current levels. Well, that will ensure we've done a successful stock take. So I'm going to click yes. And it says there are product counts that are different to the recorded values. This is basically saying the computer thought we had 0 in stock, but you've said we've got 2. Is there an error, or were they sold whilst the stock take was going on? Choosing no will do a recount for the products that have different variances. Choosing no will update your shortcuts current level. So I'm just going to click no because I'm happy with that. Congratulations, you have successfully completed a stock take. Okay, product levels will be updated according to your counts. Now, I would always recommend moving forward, we always do this, ensure our stock levels are totally accurate. Shopify aside, it will affect things such as your stock reports and the amount of VAT you pay on your stock, okay? Because if you've got more or less, it will affect the VAT. So always ensure we do a successful stock take. Now, just to show you, the products will now have been updated. So we can now see we've got 2 products in stock, okay? So we've done a successful stock take. Now, I appreciate this may take you a little bit longer than what I just did there, but it's just a very quick way to show you to do a stock take to ensure all of your stock levels are totally accurate. So what we're now going to do is generate a list of products ready to export to Shopify. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our folder that we had right at the beginning, which was on our PC, which was our local drive, our local C drive, and the folder, if you remember, was called Shopify Export. And if you remember, we've got those 2 files that we downloaded at the beginning. We've got the batch file and we've got the text document, okay? So what we're going to do on the batch file, which is this one just here, we are going to right click. Okay, and the 4th one down, we're going to click where it says Run Ad Administrator, okay? We're not going to double click and open it. We're going to right click and Run as Administrator. Now, you may get this little window pop up just saying it's been protected by your firewall. What we're going to do is we're going to click where it says More Info. And underneath, we're going to click Run Anyway. Okay, so the first option here, Run Anyway. It will then say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And we're going to click Yes. You will now see you have 3 files downloaded, and we have this brand new one here. We have a CSV or an Excel document right down the bottom here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to double click this file. So with the left side of our mouse, we are going to double click. And there you can see we have our list of products. Now, of course, this will bring through all of your retail products. It's only bought through one because I've only got the Redchem product that I just did in my webinar. So keep hold of that, save that, keep that in there. We can now import that into our Shopify account. Okay, so at this point, you may wish to sign yourself up to a Shopify account. Like I said, please do not sign up to a trial account or anything like that. I'm using a test system, but please do not sign up to a trial account. You need to sign up to a proper account for this to work, okay? So what we're now going to do is import that Excel document into our Shopify account. In the top left-hand corner, you will see where it says Home. And what we're going to do is we're going to click onto Products. Then we're going to click onto All Products. And here you will see it says Import. Now your inventory here will be totally empty, so please don't worry about that. All we're going to do is we're going to click the Import button. Then in the center of the screen, we're going to click Add File, and we are going to upload that Excel, that CSV document we just downloaded. So we're going to click onto Add File, and you'll see it just here. It's our CSV file. We can see that on the right-hand side, comma separated values. We're going to click onto that, and we're going to click the Open button. Now we don't need to worry about anything here. All we need to do is literally click Upload and Continue. That is saying we're about to upload that exported list from Shortcuts directly into our Shopify account. So we're going to click Upload and Continue. Now, depending on how many products you've done here, it may take quite some time. Now, of course, I've only done one, so we don't spend all day waiting for our products to be imported. So you can see there is my product there, Color Magnetic Shampoo. And what we're going to do is we're going to click Import Products. And again, this can take 2 or 3 minutes. And we can see right down the bottom, we have our products imported. Okay, so we have done a stock take. We've exported a list out of Shortcuts, and we've now imported it into our Shopify account. Now, as you can imagine, when clients purchase a product from your Shopify account, we need a way to run this through on Shortcuts. Now, a couple of things to remember. The product levels, the current levels, will adjust in your Shopify account. However, they will not adjust in your Shortcuts current levels. You will need to manually adjust those, okay? Now, the good news is when you get a client purchase a product through your Shopify account, you will receive an email with their client details and, of course, the product that they purchased, okay? So one thing we do need to do in order for it to tally up within Shortcuts, we do need to create a payment type so we can run it through, okay? In doing so, this will sort out our reports, and of course it will sort out our current levels, our current stock levels, and of course our cashing up. Now, to do that, we need to create a payment type in Shortcuts, because as you can imagine, they've purchased it online, okay? So we need a payment type in Shortcuts for a way to run this through, to put the sale through our Shortcut system. So to create a new payment type, on the right-hand side, we're going to click onto Setup, and we're going to click onto Configuration. Over onto the left-hand side, we're going to click where it says Payment Types. What we're going to do is we're going to click the New button, and we're going to call it Shopify. Okay, this ensures we have a payment type we can run through as Shortcuts, because of course they're not paying by cash, they're not paying by card, they've purchased it online. So we need to run this through on Shortcuts, and we're going to go through that and concentrate on that next week. But for now, we just need to create a payment type. Now in the top right hand corner, we don't need to adjust anything. We don't need to tick the banking box, because this money we will not be cashing up from our till, okay? So all we need is just an active box, and we're just going to hit the save button in the bottom right hand corner. And that is it. That is importing our products into Shopify, and we've lastly created our payment type so we can run this through, okay? Next week, we are going to run through generating an order. We're also going to run through in more detail what happens when a client places an order. Now, just to reiterate, when a client places an order, it will reduce the levels in Shopify. However, it will not reduce the current levels in Shortcuts, okay? And next week, we're going to run through how to do that. So in the next week, if everyone can just ensure they've done a stock take to the best of their ability, they have signed up to a Shopify account. And in a couple of seconds, I'm just going to talk about the prices for that. That can be found more on Shopify's website. And make sure you've created a folder in your C drive called Shopify Export. Okay, so the prices of Shopify. The basic Shopify plan works out around £22 a month sterling with a 2% on transaction fees. And what we call a Shopify plan works out around £60 a month with 1% in transaction fees. And an advanced plan works out around £230 a month with 0.5% on transaction fees. Now, just to reiterate and stress, Shopify is not integrated with Shortcuts. It is not owned by Shortcuts. So these prices are not set out by us, okay? So there is more information that can be found on that on Shopify's website. But just to circle back and just to reiterate, before next week, if we can all ensure we have created a Shopify account, we have created a folder in our C drive. We've, of course, set up our Shopify. Do a stock take if we can do. If not, next week, I will show you in depth how to do a stock take. Double check the prices, the names of your products, and ensure they're labeled as retail. And of course, double check the information once you've downloaded it to your CSV file. Perfect. So thank you ever so much. It was a little bit less than I anticipated there. I do apologize. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer, closer to an hour. I appreciate there's quite a few steps to go through, a little bit backwards and forwards in, but if we break it down into these 2 steps and next week we do step 3, we should have everything sorted out this time next week and you can start selling products. I will start answering some questions. We did have those come through, but feel free to ask away. Is there a minimum contract with Shopify? Unfortunately, I don't know. I'm not able to answer that, Sarah. Like I said, it's not affiliated with Shortcuts. It's not integrated with us. When you go through the benefit plans with them, it will outline how long the plans are for, because I appreciate you may not want to move this forward straight away. Does this have to be done on the main computer only? It has to be done on your main server machine, your main Shortcuts. However, if you have access to that via a laptop, via remote connection or team viewer, you can do that, just as long as you have access to your main Shortcuts Fusion system. How do clients access Shopify? Shopify is a website, first and foremost. However, next week, we're going to talk about more how they can access it, how you can market it, how you can get your Shopify account sent out. But essentially, it's an online shop. But next week, once we've ensured everyone's up to the stages we are now, they've done stock takes, they've got the products, they've downloaded the files. Next week, we will talk in much more detail about accessing Shopify. But yeah, we're going to that in loads more detail. Lots more to come. I just didn't want to. Yesterday, when I trialed it for about 3 or 4 hours, I did step 1 and then I went step 1 to step 3. And I was a little bit unsure whether everyone was going to keep up. So we made the conscientious decision to do steps 1 and 2 today, give everyone enough time throughout the week to get everything sorted. And then we'll run it all next week. We'll get everything done. Can we use other shopping user payments, PayPal? Not as far as I know. It is Stripe for the time being. But that is things we are looking into, other payment types to use on Shopify. It really does depend on what Shopify will allow us to do. But I'm sure moving forward, we can get PayPal and other things. But I believe just for the time being, it is Stripe. Can you add pictures and more content? Yes, you can do. We're going to go into a lot more detail next week about your actual Shopify account, how you can configure it, how you can make it look better, how you can adjust it, all things like that. So next week, we're going to delve more into the Shopify side of things. Today was purely just getting your system set up ready for it. But next week, we will dive straight into the actual workings of Shopify as much as possible. Perfect. Any other questions for me? Oh, lovely. There we go. Yes, you can deactivate. So there are a couple of things just to consider. I will just sort of outline these for you now. So a couple of things to consider with Shopify. Perfect. Sorry about that. The export from shortcuts, the one we did, the CSV file, will include all active and retail products, but it won't include the professional products. All products that are imported into Shopify will be what we call unpublished. We're going to go through that next week. So you will need to publish the products for them to be available for sale, but we are going to move into that next week. All products imported are what we call shippable, meaning they are allowed to be shipped to clients. Now, I fully appreciate with everything going on, there are certain things we need to address. If you're only running a click and collect store, you will need to untick this option for each product in Shopify. Okay, now we will go through that next week as well. Product levels will be imported and monitored by Shopify, which, like I said, is separate to shortcuts. So you will have to manually adjust them in shortcuts, which is why I showed you how to create a payment type, because every time a payment runs through on Shopify, we will run the payment through on shortcuts as well. Okay, just so everything tallies up. If a product level, if it does reach zero, so if essentially you're out of stock on Shopify, it will not allow you to sell any of those products further until you update those levels. And we will be talking about that again next week once we delve into the depths of Shopify. If you haven't configured your sell price in shortcuts, Shopify will set the RRP to your current sell price. Okay, so just a couple of things just to consider there, but we'll run through all of those again next week as well. But today was just to get the files downloaded and everything like that. But like I said, if you do want to press straight on, if you found the first steps nice and easy and you're comfortable doing stock takes, on the website, shortcuts.com.au/Shopify, if I just show you that there. We do have our how-to videos. We've got steps 1, steps 2, and steps 3 on there if you want to press straight on. But next week, we're going to be running step 3 as well. But that is on there should you require it. Perfect. Any other questions for me this afternoon, ladies and gents? Okay, so we'll stay online just a couple more minutes there if anyone does have any questions moving forward. Okay, so I think that's it for all of the questions this afternoon. If you were on all of my webinars today, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everyone. Next week, we will finalize this webinar. We'll do step 3 and, of course, show you how to do a successful stock take. And then moving forward, we will run this webinar frequently just to ensure everyone stays on track with it. But it's been a pleasure speaking to everyone. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Stay safe, and I shall speak to you all again soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye.